Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey.
Guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sadness Podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks from childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And tonight, wise men say only sweeties rush in. Why can't we? He's having a stroke.
Sing the same lyrics.
Nice. See, we got there in the end. You got so slow. I thought you were having a stroke.
You say that every time we try to do the match-up thing. It's just how I do it. Either I'm a pirate or I look like I'm having a stroke. I mean, it doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, you got a lot of quirks. Anyways, hey, my pick, Sweetie with a Y's pick. I don't know why I picked this movie. I just knew that both Sweetie and I had like a weird connection to it, and that we like really liked it for some reason. When we were, not that it's a bad movie, but we were just like, we were like highly into this movie, like unusually high into this movie, I think. But the movie is, in case you couldn't figure out from the song in the beginning, Fools Rush In.
Bulls rush in. Bulls rush in. I think it should be called The Sign.
Well,
And the theme song would be,
I saw the sign
and it opened up my mind, and I'm gonna have this baby without you. I let you go. No, on the Hoover Dam.
Oh, whew, that's fun. Yeah, so Matthew Perry coming off fresh from his friend's hot streak.
Well, he's still on it.
Well, I know. I don't know why I said coming off fresh, but they were all pretty good movie careers at this time, I would say. Maybe except
Well, I don't think
Ross.
Selma had done anything. Salma.
I'm talking about the Friends. I'm talking about the Friends.
Yeah. No,
Ross.
well, this is when they started, let's all remember, Matthew Perry was in a couple 80s movies, including this one called She's Out of Control. Does anyone remember this movie? Where Tony Danza is the very protective father. And then this girl, I forget her name, is this girl, and she's like really dorky, and then she like gets contacts and I want to say a boob job, and then all the guys like her in school. And Matthew Perry is like this like really creepy guy who like acts nice, but then basically tries to rape her at the prom party.
Okay. No, but wait.
This is the one that Phoebe wants us to do.
Oh, right. Well,
Good summary.
wait, Tony Danza is old enough to play his crazy
Hold me
dad?
closer, Tony Danza. No, it wasn't his dad. It was the girl's dad.
Still, he's old enough to have played a dad back then?
Well, it was like in Who's the Boss time. Tony Danza's wicked old.
Is he?
I mean, he's pretty old.
I can't keep track. No, yeah, we got to watch that one. But, so anyways, Matthew Perry, he was having a time. He is in this also as Sweetie spilled. Just kidding. Salma Hayek. Famous Mexican actress. Did we verify that?
Who? Salma Hayek?
Yeah.
Was she a famous Mexican
No,
actress?
was
at this
she
point?
You asked if she was actually
Oh, yeah.
Mexican.
No, I'm not sure.
And we didn't verify it.
Penelope Cruz is Spanish.
Okay.
Salma is, I think, from Mexico.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Veracruz, Mexico.
Cool.
Yeah. 1997.
Right. So movie came out in 97. For me, like a really non-annoying rom-com. This movie's adorable. And I always thought it was adorable. And it has like some really cute twists to it. And, stuff that doesn't necessarily seem present in like a lot of rom-coms. Abortion. Or not abortion. Unwed.
Scary.
What is that called? One night stands.
Baby out of wedlock?
Baby out of wedlock. Shotgun wedding. Cultural racism. One cultural difference between
differences.
cultures brought up as being like a a sticking point? You know, because you think like a lot of rom-coms, you know, it's like white on white. It's just like, oh, I'm an annoying white dude, and like, oh, I meet cute like this annoying white girl, and then like I have 27 dresses, and then we fall in love. You know, it's like stuff like that. So this one did feel really different, and I think for me has stood the test of time because of those factors.
Yeah. I think in today's lens, it's like a little over the top with the like stereotypical Mexican family, right?
Who knows? We're not Mexican.
Well, according to the people on IMDb, that's what they said.
What?
But
now I feel bad.
Also, well, it's not. I mean, not just like some things
because they made guacamole.
No,
because they drink margaritas.
It was like the house decoration, and he like walked in. It was like a Mexican restaurant. Like yes, we all must paint our houses like that.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't write the IMDb reviews. Okay, I just read them. But anyways, what was I talking about?
Why do you like this movie? Does it test it?
So this. Oh yeah. Wow, we're already talking about that. Well, yeah. So the one night stand stuff, I just find it very unbelievable now with today's lens.
But this is 97 when that could still happen. You could still meet someone cute in a bathroom line.
Why can't you do it now?
Because the world doesn't exist. You know what happens in a bathroom line?
The world doesn't exist?
People are on their fucking phones. There's nothing to do when you're in a bathroom line, so of course you're going to strike up a conversation with a cute girl. Hello?
I guess. I guess. But so we watched this movie a lot when we were younger. I believe they played it on one of this must have been a year that we had one of the movie channels. Yeah. We would always go through like cycles. It'd be like one year we had HBO for a little while, and then another year I remember
when HBO only had movies.
Yeah,
does that seem crazy now?
Yeah,
we got HBO like pretty early.
Yeah, we were like pretty advanced in the tech space.
Do you remember when people used to call? Ready? Remember this joke? Hey, do you have HBO?
No.
You said yes.
Yes.
Ha ha! You have horrible body odor. Do you remember?
It was like any of those, any like acronym. It was that was the joke, and they make up something. That's great.
No, it was only for that one. It was awesome.
Oh,
got kids all the time.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't do it, but like,
yeah. But yeah, this was played on those channels a lot, and I would always watch it. It was like there could be like 8 movies on and be like, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, Fools Rush In again. Like I'd watch it every time. I don't know why.
You know why? Because you can always jump in at every scene.
Yeah.
Every scene is pretty good. I feel like there's not really any that are like super sloggy or don't feel like that.
No cheer up Charlies, let's just say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's great pace. Like it's really romantic in a lot of ways. You know, I'm watching this in a different phase of my life. Spoiler alert.
I know. I'm like, Sweetie a year ago would be like, this is bullshit.
Exactly. But now I'm like, oh my God, so true. Love at first sight. No, that's... I still am. We'll talk about it later, but Love at First Sight is still bullshit, okay? Which this movie, I'm sorry, proves because like they had to learn to like know each other.
They still do. They haven't even been together in years still yet.
Totally.
It's crazy.
Like, you got to get to know each other. Like that's obviously number one. So you can lust at first sight, which like who wouldn't lust and fall in love with Salma Hayek? I mean, the girl is awesome. Yeah. Not only is she beautiful and has like, you know, just classically, kind of exotic beauty, but exceptionally beautiful. She's a cool fucking bitch in this, okay?
She's
like, so cool. She's really cool. Almost really too cool for Alex.
I know. Right? I was watching this when I've never had this happen before where I'm watching it. I'm like, he's a total fucking loser.
What does he bring to the table?
He's a loser.
Literally, what does he bring to the table?
He was a nerd in school, and then...
He's a nerd.
And now he's like...
His clothes are too baggy. Yeah. He has a good job, and he's like kind of funny.
Hair's too spiky. But, and he has a weird dead tooth. He's like, I don't know...
And like he's not Chandler Bing funny because like they really, I think, purposely had him tone that down because people knew him as this Chandler Bing character who was very sarcastic and like that kind of level of humor, which he's great at. But I don't think they wanted to bring this into this movie so much. So it's like they're like 5 lines I feel are Chandler Bing-ish, and then he really like tones it down. So it's like, what is it about this Alex guy? He is like very sweet.
Yeah, he's like says all these like romantic sweeping things.
He's a romantic deep down inside, and then she really brings it out in him, right? Yeah. And like she was kind of looking for that, I think, for a long time, and then it did, like, you know, so it did work. But yeah, other than that, I think like she should give him the Hebo. But yeah, cute fucking movie, guys. As I said, I wept at the end. She had the baby. I fucking wept. My hormones are all over the place.
Yeah, she lost it. I laughed at her.
My God, it's like reaction was so sweet.
But yeah, I think even though I haven't seen this movie in a long time, I still remember it like it was like I watched it yesterday. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, I know what happens next. I know all these lines. You know, it's like it's one of those for me. And it's not that it's like I especially loved this movie. It's just that it was just one that I always happen to watch, which I feel like in turn made me love it more. If that makes sense. Like I don't know if it's a great movie. It's enjoyable to watch.
It's enjoyable. I think we can say it's enjoyable. Not great.
But yeah, that's my hot take.
I love that about movies, like how you just said that, and it reminds me of also like if you haven't heard a song in a while, but you have heard it so many times before, but maybe you haven't heard it in 5 years, and you still know all the lyrics. I just love that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, your brain is
our
awesome.
brain is so cool.
I know.
But why doesn't it remember like important things? Sometimes I don't know because they're taking up too much space remembering all those songs. But this is definitely a 90s movie. I hope you took down a few 90s things.
What? I hope you did. I know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I got 3 good ones.
Oh, good.
And it just really brought me back because it was a weird time. Like the 90s was almost into the 2000s, but people were still dressing terribly.
Yeah, they really were.
And vague echoes of like the 80s still was happening.
Close. And I mean, we talked about this a lot, but this was very like comfortable time for everybody, right? So this is like a couple of years before 9/11. I would have been in like 8th grade. Okay, awesome year. Loved 8th grade. But also like the state of the world and like this country was just doing like exceptionally well before like it all went shit. So I feel like everyone was in like a really good place. Sure. And like people are like, oh my God, I have like these problems. And they were like so lame. Now looking back on it, because you're like, oh my God, life seems so perfect. And I'm sure, that's coming from a super white privileged bubble. I'm sure not everyone was like doing great in 1997. But the consensus, I think, in general, that there wasn't a lot of problems that we have now.
Yeah. Easy Street. So, no one else really famous in this movie except
people but you're gonna know, right?
That guy, that lady.
So the friend of his is this guy named John Tenney. Okay, I don't know what else he's in. All I know is that he was married to Terry Hatcher, who I was obsessed with because she was in Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
You were obsessed with.
Yeah, and then when I found out that was her husband, I was like, I don't know about that because she was like so cool to me. The woman who is in Men in Black, Beatrice, love that bitch. Like red hair, always like delivers every line like hilariously. Love that woman. She's amazing. And then who else? I think I mentioned this in the Instagram story. Kathy. I keep wanting to call her Kathy Sanders, but it's not.
That's like some popular girl's name in a TV show or something. Oh no, Kathy Zantoni, Full House. I don't know. Could be someone.
Anyway, so this like basically stage 5 clinger, Kathy, who just like is so thirsty for Alex, is like also the lead girl in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh wow, he's been in a bunch of stuff.
John Tenney.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Like True Detective. True Detective. I don't know which season. That show Longmire, though he was in an episode of The Romanovs.
He was.
Yeah.
Jeez,
we must just not have noticed. Been like, wow. I mean, he's not like a recognizable face. Anyways, Kathy.
Yep. So that's it. It's just like people you would have seen in the 90s. But yeah, I mean, the two front runners, obviously, like Matthew Perry and Salma Hayek. So, and this was a real vaulting movie for Salma, I feel like. Like she had done, I forgot like what her kind of resume was. I think did she do like telenovelas in Mexico or something? And then this was like kind of one of her big breaks. So good for her. She's awesome in it. She's adorable. Again, just love that character. I think she's like awesome. She makes some questionable decisions, but like, wouldn't we all? I don't blame her. She's chasing her heart.
I don't know if I would make that decision.
Yeah. I mean, the one bad one, like, agreed. But like, she did what she had to do. Okay, so let's jump into the plot because it's pretty good. As rom-coms go, it's time for the sweet synopsis. Yeah, sweeties. Tranquilo. That's not it.
Tranquilo. Alex Whitman is how old do we think he is?
Late 20s.
It says that?
Yep.
He says that?
Yep.
Okay, that's depressing.
Because his dad was like, these kids are in their late 20s.
Oh my God. Okay.
I know.
Alex Whitman, field man of Boulevard Associate. I don't know. Nightclubs. A field man. Interesting. I mean, I feel like he's just a project manager.
Essentially, that's what it is.
Yeah.
He wears a hard hat, tells people
right. He lives in New York. He's getting ready to figure out like what club he's going to open next and where. He's hoping it's Tokyo. We're at Christmas here, folks, and he finds out you're not going to Tokyo. You're going to Vegas. And I don't really understand the ploy here. His buddy's like, you have to go to do this Vegas club because he had like some intel that like.
Well, if he did well on that one or something, then he could open up this bigger, huge one in New York that was going to make a ton of money or something. Right. And they all wanted that project. It was going to be a really big deal.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So he's like, yeah, I'll go to Vegas. So he goes to Vegas, you know.
Oh, sorry. Because if he went to Tokyo, like he wouldn't be back to do that other club in New York. But if he did the Vegas job, it would be shorter.
Okay.
And it'd be in the U.S.
Interesting.
So
Okay. Well, he goes to Vegas, does a fun thing where like he temporarily lives somewhere. Like he's got a little like house rental or whatever, car, little convertible.
Yeah.
It's fun. One day he's eating a bunch of dishes. I'm still unclear why he's doing this. Sweetie says he's doing food research, but for the like, why do they want authentic Mexican food in the Las Vegas
club?
I didn't even.
Was that weird for you?
That was really creepy. I didn't even see food in that club. Yeah. But
so all you do, you see him like nursing a beer at a Mexican restaurant with like every dish on the menu in front of him.
They all look like burritos.
Why was he eating 12 burritos? Anyway,
it was like 20.
I think he's like meal testing and thinking like, what, like, could we put one of these on the menu? And maybe even like stealing, which is
he's
like
not
cool.
a chef. I just don't get it.
I don't either, but whatever. He's at a Mexican restaurant by himself.
Yes, and then he goes to the bathroom, and there's a feisty woman on the payphone, saying all this stuff, and he's interested. She hangs up the phone, and then is like, "Oh shit, I have to go to the bathroom, and this line is 20 people long. I'm gonna flirt with this guy in the front, and maybe he'll let me go first." So that's basically what happens. But along the way, they fall in lust, lust at first sight, as Sweetie would say. So somewhere between when she pees and then comes back, that's not accurate. Somewhere between when she pees and they leave, they had like maybe a good conversation and a lot of drinks, and then decide to go back to Alex's house and have sex. One night stand, you guys. Woo, woo. And she wakes up the next morning and is like, oh, fuck. What did I do? Leaves.
Coyote Ugly.
Grab...
It reminded me of, because remember in Coyote Ugly, like they named the bar after like when you had a one night stand and you'd rather like chew your arm off than wake the guy up because he's like on your arm, because he's like lying on top of her and she has to like move his arm, but like luckily he doesn't wake up.
Oh my god! So she like runs away. Now, did it say 3 months later in the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so now cut to 3 months later. We are now at April, and Alex is like wooing some rich person to try to get more money for the club or something. And who should show up at the door but Isabel?
Isabel Fuentes.
We didn't tell you her name, but guys, that's her name. And she tells him some interesting news, Sweetie. What does she say?
I'm pregnant.
She's pregnant, and you're the father. You're the father. He's a little freaked, as you would be. But on the other hand, he was also been like pining for Isabel this whole time, even though he hasn't seen her in 3 months and they only spent one night together. He was like obsessed with her and always thinking about her. So this is like horrifying, but he's also okay with it, I feel like.
Yeah, and as I told Sweetie, like, that's my one night stand dream, was to meet the guy later and him being like, I've been trying to find you everywhere. Because let me tell you, that does not happen with one night stands. I used to have a couple back in the day, and, I was a romantic. I'd be like, I gave that guy my number. He's going to call me.
Yeah.
Why hasn't he called? But they always felt bad about sleeping with you. So they'd ask for your number because it made them feel better.
Jeez.
And then they would never call you.
It's hard.
It was really bad.
It's a harsh truth.
So honestly,
I
I wish there were more Alex Whitmans out there. He also could have been lonely in Vegas, Like, he's probably looking for a warm body.
Yeah.
Sex was good.
I mean,
I like how they said that, like, they use condoms. I mean, very, like, 90s thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, but we use condoms. Oh, I guess it didn't work.
One of them didn't work.
Please.
Like, what? Yeah, well, if they're really drunk, I don't know. Maybe he, like, thought it was on. I don't know.
But I like how they feel like they had to say that anyway, because it's like, okay, we have to look like they're, like, total. They're not reckless crazies having, like, no condom sex in the 90s, but, like, also, how do we get this girl pregnant?
Right. So she tells him, and then they kind of like have this awkward exchange, and then the old lady, she's not old, she's like 55, 60, I don't know, but good, Aunt Zelda from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, if you remember. Isabel gets all like freaked out and like leaves and drives away crying. And
What
then
does she like want him to say in that situation, you think?
I think she was just embarrassed and was like, oh, he's not who I thought he was. Like, he's like this gross playboy, like hitting on older women to get their money or something. Like, I think she just was, I don't know.
Because his reaction, I think, was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, there was this awkward part where she was like, I think the only thing I can do, and then he thinks that she's going to say, get an abortion. So he's like, oh, thank God. He's like, I support your right to choose or something. And she's like, good, because I'm choosing to keep this baby. And that's like, maybe that's what like upset her, which is like, yeah, sure, that's upsetting. But like also.
So I still think that's an okay reaction for him to have. Like, they are strangers. They do not know each other. Like, it sucks because the woman does have to bear like, obviously the whole part of a mistake like that, and like this is where the whole discussion is like so fucked up with like this whole thing, but still, like, honestly, I don't dislike him for his reactions or anything like that. I think that's like a perfectly human, normal thing to be like, oh fuck, but yeah, she just like freaks out and leaves, which I feel like that was kind of dumb.
Yeah,
but she was upset too.
Yeah, so then he goes after her, and then they meet up on the Hoover Dam. He thinks she's going to jump, but she's just like hanging out there, which like dangerous place to hang out. I'm upset about it.
She loves the dam, which I'm like, why?
Yeah, it's like this gross electrical like monstrosity.
It looks cool from afar, but like the actual dam.
Yeah,
like,
end of the day, it's a dam.
her grandfather helped build it.
Yeah, it probably was like killed there too.
I was gonna say, and his body is in the dam.
That's 100% what
happened. Great Wall in
happened.
China, there's just like bodies in it because people would die and they just like covered over with bricks and stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. So they make up, and they don't just make up. Oh wait, so no, he's like, what can I do for you? And she's like, you could meet my family, because then when they find out I'm pregnant, they'll be like, who's the father? And I'll be like, Alex, you met him, remember? Which, like, cool, I guess is a good plan, except totally unfair to Alex, because then he has to go through the rest of his life with this family hating him and thinking he's some crazy psycho asshole who abandoned his child.
That's why you hire like a person you never want to see again and be like, can you be my fake boyfriend?
It's weird.
So then people can hate you and I won't care and you won't care.
Yeah.
It was a bad plan, and he was getting the short end of that stick, I'll tell you that.
Just didn't realize it. Yeah. So he goes over. It's like a big family event, dinner every Saturday, but her family's like huge, and they have this big like outdoor kind of party with like lights, and it's very festive. And he meets the family. Her dad is one of those like scary dads. Who is like, only lot in life is to like make sure his daughter remains a child. So creepy.
What movie were we watching? We brought this up, how like insane and creepy and weird that is.
10
like,
Things I Hate About You,
yeah,
or
maybe.
something.
Like, why wouldn't you want your daughters to have happiness?
Right.
Why do you want to keep them as little girls?
Right. Yeah.
Because your only like worth is like as some sort of protection person. Like,
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Can't with that.
Yeah. So, but he meets them, and then at some point in this night, they fall even deeper in love, quote unquote, if you'll believe it. I think the turning point is there happens to be a baby at this event.
The old man holding a baby.
Yeah, and he's like holding the baby, slow motion. She walks in and is like, oh my God, he'll be the best dad. He knows how to hold a baby. Like, it's just like melts, it tugs at your heartstrings. Even
It's
Sweetie
bullshit,
over here
but-
was like,
oh
oh
my
my God, he
It's
kissed
bullshit,
it.
but I don't care who you are. Like, any woman's going to be like, cute guy with cute baby.
So then they decide to get married in Vegas, which is like, OMG. And this also, I feel like, similar to the condom example, where they have to make you think like they're responsible. It's like, look, they're okay. They're getting married. It's fine.
Just date a little.
Right. And you don't even have to be married. And I know that her family's religious.
Yeah, I think that was the main
Her family's
point.
religious, and that probably wouldn't fly. But still, it's like so 90s to be like, oh, we can't have a baby unless we're married. But they do it. And then they kind of like start their life together and just trickle this new news into people's like salads over lunch, and are like, oh, by the way, I'm married. And then there's kind of just this new accepted thing.
Yeah. And I mean, they're kind of dating backwards, right? So they do like this big step, and then they realize they have to learn about each other, right? They don't know anything about each other. So there's all these things, and they kind of do a little montage of how this happens. Them getting used to each other, her family, peeing in front of each other, big step. Her cooking for him. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else is in that montage. I mean, they find out big details that, as the roommate says at one point,
conversations you would usually have on the second date.
Yeah, because she finds out that Alex lives in New York, and she thought he lived in Las Vegas full time.
I mean, I feel like that had to have come up if they got drinks at that restaurant
What are you in
before
town
hooking
for?
up.
Exactly.
Right. That definitely came up. So I don't know. Suspicious. But
suspicious, man.
Yeah. So she tells her parents. Her dad's furious, doesn't talk to her anymore, basically disowns her. Typical
what is the
stupid
point of
dad
that?
shit. Alex, unfortunately, does not tell his parents because he's either afraid, ashamed, or hates them. I don't know. I'm confused.
I think a little of both.
I think all of them. Yeah, all of the above.
He's from a very waspy family from New York. They're pretty racist people.
Probably didn't show a lot of love
Yeah.
to each other. But so they just show up one day randomly because this fucking bitch, Kathy, whatever, Kathy Stewart sees Isabel in the mall or wherever the fuck they are, and she overhears her say his name. Which how many Alex Whitmans are there? I'd be like, oh, John Smith.
Yeah.
You must be talking about John Smith. Let me describe him. He's tall with dark hair. Is it him? Yeah. So Kathy was an old family friend of Alex's family, and they've grew up together, and he for some reason is terrified of her and runs away from her, even though she's this hot bombshell.
Well, she's really aggressive, but she seems like a blonde ditz with maybe kind of shallow. So I just don't
but
think he
again,
likes her.
he's a putz. So
she needs to get the fucking picture because they haven't hooked up and they've been family friends their whole life.
Maybe they have.
Get the
They
net.
probably had an awkward hookup at some point. I'm
Gross.
sure. Anyways,
sick.
Kathy's upset and tells Alex's mom and dad that they have to go see Alex immediately because they'll just be shocked by what
didn't
he's
she
doing
tell
with his life.
That's weird.
I know, what a bitch. So his parents just show up on the doorstep. They think Isabel is a maid, and it doesn't go well. And then he still doesn't tell them in front of Isabel. What?
Yeah, that is honestly
He's
the
a
biggest thing that I
fucking
think Alex does in this whole
idiot.
movie. That just, if I married someone, was carrying their child, and their parents came to visit and did not tell them who I was or could contest the fact that they thought I was the maid, I would be out of there in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
What the fuck?
Time to right this wrong. No more time. Better time than the present. Hello.
But whatever. So they get the news. They're like, oh my God. And then you cut to them meeting the parents meeting each other. Starts off okay because they commiserate about how their kids are stupid and making a mistake. And the moms are like, they're in love. But it doesn't end so good because Alex's dad says some racist comment about how the white people are melting. And then, they're just okay, so our families aren't going to be friends. Oh well. So moving on to the next thing. They decide along some point that they're going to stay in Vegas until the baby's born. And then Isabel decides she will move to New York with him because his job is there, which is very nice, very big of her.
Yeah.
And
her whole life's there.
Right. Her whole life's in Vegas, her work, her family. Her family's very important to her, not to him. So you're
Right.
ugh. Again.
And he has that one friend who
Right,
seems to
big
follow him around to
deal.
the job
Yeah.
sites anyway. So
Yeah. I mean, he does need money. He has to support their family, blah, blah, blah.
They already opened the club there. So they
Right,
can't open
yeah.
another one.
So that's the plan. Unfortunately, Alex needs to open the club in Vegas, step on it because he fucked it up or something. So he busts his balls to open this club and it really stops paying Isabel any attention, it seems like. Very sad. And then at the club opening, his boss was like, by the way, you're moving to New York next month. Got to open that club. He's like, wait, what? Again, doesn't tell Isabel, and then an awkward thing happens. The boss spills the beans. They have a big screaming fight and decide basically to break up / divorce in that parking lot, essentially. Isabel just takes off and then goes to Mexico to be with her grandma, and Alex has to go to New York.
Well, she also went into had some labor pains, or she thought. I mean, I think at this point she's only 6 or 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And she has some labor pains, so he finds out and goes to visit her in the hospital, and she tells him that she has lost the baby. And the baby was the only thing, why they kind of got together and got married so quickly in the first place. And now that the baby's gone, they don't really have an excuse to be together anymore. Let's break up.
Yeah.
So he's devastated. He was really going to try to make it work. She thought as like that was going to be his way out, because I think she kind of like thought, like I'm going to break up with him before he breaks up with me kind of a thing and breaks my heart. So she was kind of just protecting herself. But really, he's not like that. He's like a really nice guy. And I think he was stressed out with that job. And like, yes, he should have communicated like way better. But like still, I don't think that was the right like course of action.
No.
Don't fake your baby's death. Just saying.
Yikes. Yeah, so she runs off to Mexico. He resumes life in New York thinking that, this has all happened. But then he's just like, he can't get her out of his mind. And he keeps seeing signs that remind him of Isabel. She was very into signs. So he sees like, first a priest tells him there's signs everywhere, which is something Isabel said to him. And then he sees like a billboard of the Grand Canyon and
the dog,
the little Chihuahua, because they had a Chihuahua which she
Cujo.
abandoned.
Yeah.
When she like fled to Mexico, and a little girl named Isabel at the dock airport helicopter pad, whatever.
It takes a helicopter pad to like,
out of New York.
Out of New York.
Like where are they
Richie
going?
Riches,
The Hamptons,
something.
Sees this little girl and is like, that's it, that's the final sign, and he decides he has to go to Isabel. So he calls Lainey, or no, how does he find out she's in Mexico?
I think he knew, like, when she moved out, like, he moved out of the apartment. I think the brothers or something told her that she had went to Mexico to see the grandmother.
Okay. So he, like, goes to Mexico, really doesn't know, like, much of anything about it, but someone must have told him to, like, get all those directions. So he goes for, like...
They look like old MapQuest directions. Remember that?
Yeah. Crazy. I know. I was
You'd
just
print
thinking
it out.
about that. Like, second left. And then you had to, like, read it while you were driving? Like, what?
Yeah.
No, but so he goes to visit her, like, 1,000-year-old grandmother who's, like, very sweet and lives in this old house in Mexico, no electricity or telephones, etc. And he's like, where's Isabel? And she's like, is speaking in Spanish to him, is like, oh, like, you are Isabel's great love. And he's like, okay. He's like, where is she? And then he tells him she went back to Las Vegas. I don't know how far away this village in Mexico is.
Central Mexico, it said it was.
Central?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's far.
That was a long time. So he goes back to Nevada and knows that she's going to be crossing the dam at some point. Calls Lainey on the airplane phone, ? I'm still... That must have been a first class thing only.
Yeah,
but did they
is.
work? I'm just so...
I mean, I've seen them even in Coach, but like, I have
so
never understood
dubious
how
of that.
works.
Yeah. It's just,
But if there can be phones and cars, like, why not? Like the Zach Morris, like, car
Yeah,
phone.
but planes are like way up high. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. So waits at the Hoover Dam until he sees her car, jumps in front of the car, confesses his love to her again, and is like, says all these sweet things. And she's like, it's too late. She's just, I don't know.
She's so hard.
Yeah, it's true.
Just let it in.
But then, her water breaks, which, how did she know? It was pouring rain outside.
Pouring. She was soaked.
Yeah, they were soaked already, so whatever. But starts having the baby basically on the Hoover Dam. And then they deliver the baby. Unfortunately, at this time, it's past midnight, so they're divorced. But they're like, oh, right, we just get married for real.
We're divorced.
So they get married for reals and start their life together again. The end. We don't really see. We hear nothing else of the baby, though. I hope the baby's okay.
The baby is fine.
Where
Wish
was
they
it?
gave it a name.
Right. We know
I feel
nothing
like it
about this
needed a
baby.
name.
We don't get to see a cute
Was who was
Lainey
holding
holding
it at
the
the-
baby. I don't
no
think
one was
anybody
holding it at the
was.
wedding?
I didn't notice it.
The baby didn't come
Maybe
to the
we
wedding.
should go back.
That's weird.
I don't know. Probably abandon it like the
No.
Chihuahua.
No.
But that's the end. And then we cut to UB40's rendition of Fools Rush In. Wise men say.
I don't know why I'm singing like a
only
country
fools-
singer.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's the flick.
But I can't.
They really went through a lot of ups and downs in those 9 months.
Yeah. Did they make it?
I was trying to think about this, and I have a feeling that they make it longer than you would have expected, but then break up a little bit around their 40s.
Yeah.
Into 50s.
I agree, because I feel like they're like super cute and sweet, because they're a couple who's only the first 3 months. So like, yeah, you're all like, wah, 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 wah. And then like the real stuff starts happening and you're like, I hate you. And they go through that like much quicker.
Yeah.
Because obviously the baby and then moving in and stuff. So like they're just kind of like on a fast track. But I don't know. Again, I'm just saying, like, what does she see in him?
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
like, what do
I
they have in
wasn't-
common?
Right.
Like, nothing.
Right.
It's so, I just feel like that is not going to last well into like their later lives as a married couple.
And it's not like that they were even opposites.
Right.
They were just like
very
different
different.
people.
Like, what
Yeah.
did they talk about? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just-
I don't know. I have no
I
idea.
just don't get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think they made it. Hope the baby's okay though, and then we wonder what they named her. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
I'm missing the could have been a good sequel. Fools Rush In 2, Salma in New York, like Isabel in New York.
Good one.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see, right? But yeah, that is the flick. So like I said, I remember most parts of this, but the parts that stick out the most to me are like the horrible, awful scene of the parents getting like 3rd-degree sunburns after their fight with Isabel's parents. Like, youch. Go to the hospital. Like, they need like a skin transplant.
They have sun poisoning.
That is
Hate to break
fucked
it to
up.
them. That is fucked up.
But that always scared the shit out of me. And then,
It's really hot out there. My
Yeah.
friend got like on my road trip. Oh, we were in California. We were in San Diego though. But like, she's very pale. But she decided to use SPF 8 at the pool.
I didn't think they made that.
And we were there all day, and then we went out to a restaurant, and like also were sitting in the sun, and then she almost fainted outside the restaurant. I think she had sun poisoning.
Yeah.
Abby,
Yeah.
don't fool around with
So
that.
yeah,
sun.
that part, and then the other part is when Alex tells Isabel about Papa. I always want to say Papagayo, which is like this restaurant in Selena. Looks like Papa Yo-Yo's, but no. Grace Papaya.
Papagayo or one around
I
here.
know,
too.
but isn't that the Selena's restaurant too?
Is it?
Because the sign looks like Papa Yo-Yo's. I don't know. So
What's a
Grace
Papagayo?
Papaya.
It must be something. A parrot?
I don't know.
Look that up.
Grace Papaya is this famous hot dog place in New York. I think it's still around, but maybe not as popular or whatever. But he tells her about these hot dogs that are the best in the world, I think he says. And then she surprises him on his birthday with a steaming hot box of Gray's Papaya hot dogs in the desert. It means parrot. Papagayo.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're naming your restaurant Parrot? Singular?
Papagayos? I think there's a one around here.
Parrots. Still, it's weird. Doesn't translate. So yeah, steaming hot box of hot dogs in the desert. They got like onions on them, and they're okay. I guess.
Has anyone ever tried a Gray's Papaya hot dog?
No, but I
I've
just
seen it. I've been in New York. I've walked by it.
yeah, it's that famous. And You've Got Mail. It's the one, the place they're eating at, where it's like we're talking with the little. Sign.
Well, I gotta tell you, there's nothing better than a really good hot dog, though. I've been on like a hot dog kick.
How can that hot dog be good if it has been like whatever had to
They
be
must know what they're
flown
doing.
from New York
Yeah.
to Nevada and then flown out to the desert?
They kept them hot. I don't
It
know.
doesn't make sense.
I mean,
to
the
me.
buns would definitely be soggy.
Yeah.
It looked like there was some like onion sauerkraut shit on there.
Right.
So, like definitely soggy.
Right? Is she pregnant? Don't eat that.
Oh, you can't eat hot dogs?
No, but if it was like, I wouldn't chance that eating a hot dog on an airplane. Like, even if it's kept hot, I don't know.
news
I have so many concerns about that scene, but I always remembered it, and they do look good though in that scene, so it's fine. But
Like
those
a good
are
hot
those
dog.
are the two scenes I remember the most.
Do you like your hot dogs grilled, boiled, in a pan?
Option D, microwave?
Microwave. I remember microwaving hot dogs all the time when I was a kid.
What we did.
I would like make the little slits and I'd roll it up
Roll
in
in the paper towel.
paper
No.
towel. Toilet paper, in paper towel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, does anyone remember? And I bring this up a lot. Okay, not on this podcast, but like to people in everyday life. Do you remember the hot dogs that had the cheese in them?
Yeah, I don't think I liked them.
It
though.
was like Velveeta cheese, but it was like
because the cheese
shot into the
Yeah.
hot dog.
Cheese
So when
was
you would
too
bite or
fake.
cut into them, it'd be like little bits of
Yeah.
cheese in them.
No, cheese was too fake. Didn't like it.
Yeah,
Not a
I wouldn't
fan.
like that
Not a
now,
fan.
but as a kid, I was obsessed with them.
Yeah.
But I've had like quite a few hot dogs recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, your
delicious.
boyfriend's really into grilling the dogs.
Grilling the dog. No, but I bought those hot dogs, and I found these really good
yeah.
Oscar Mayer organic. How do you make an organic hot dog? I do not know. I think they're lying, but they're all beef, and they are so good.
Amazing.
Really
Yeah, I
you
gotta
know
try
what my other
those.
favorite thing is? Okay, so I used to be like ketchup only for hot dogs, right?
Yeah.
I've stepped up my game, guys.
Yep.
I do mustard.
Yep.
Ketchup.
Oh.
Yellow. It's got me yellow mustard, ketchup, and the piece of
Mayonnaise.
resistance.
Oh,
Mayonnaise would probably be
Oh.
good. relish.
Ooh.
Either the sweet or the salty, the sweet or the sour, the sweet or the kosher dill.
What's happening? Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
What about
But,
bread
like,
and butter pickles? Is that sweet?
Yeah, that's the sweet relish, which I would be like, but now I actually really like that. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, relish is the way to go.
Relish,
It really
relish.
makes the
Yeah.
dog.
I went through a little phase where I would put potato chips on my hot dog and then mayonnaise because I saw it on like a TV program, like best hot dogs, and that was one of them. I don't know, but those were the
believe
scenes, anyways, that I remember. Did you have standout scenes that you always remember?
Scenes that I always remember. So I didn't remember it until we watched it, but then I was like, oh yeah, I love this scene. So she is, they're getting to know each other, and he comes home, and she's like cooking in the house, and she's making something, and she has this Gloria Stefan song on, and she's like dancing in the kitchen, like dance like no one's watching, but he's watching, and he's like, wow, because she like looks so hot doing it. She's like, ooh, and, like doing a shimmy and
You're
all
like,
that stuff.
come on.
I mean, like you wish, like you know, when you're dancing in your kitchen like by yourself, like okay, that's what you wish you looked like.
That would definitely be one of those memes that's like what I think I look like dancing in my kitchen, and then like what I really look like, and it's like the
and she
Honey, I
has this,
Shrunk
like,
the Kids with the
broom.
the mop. Broom.
She has this super cute dress on. Her hair is like all big and wavy, and she just looks like awesome. And
the
she's so
bitch is
cute.
pregnant.
Yeah, the bitch is pregnant. She's like sprinkling on cilantro to like enchiladas, and she's like la la shimmy shimmy.
Of course. Yeah,
I
it's
just like love that scene.
pretty great. It's pretty great.
Good.
Yeah. Anything else that you remembered or no?
I mean, like every scene. I really enjoyed the scene where the brothers bring him out shooting. Apparently, this is like some sort of macho activity you have to do, shooting in the desert. What are you shooting in the desert?
Snakes, apparently. I don't know.
That's what they ended up doing. So like he goes and takes a piss somewhere,
Like
comes down
armadillos.
like the rock, and he's surrounded by rattlesnakes. So like how to get him out of this is just to shoot all the rattlesnakes, but he like freaks out because they're like shooting at his feet and then falls into a cactus. Ouch.
Yeah, we miss it. I mean, I guess, yeah, he falls backwards onto a cactus. So it's confusing. I just think the desert is like the scariest place. Like you just don't notice that 5 snakes just like crawled up behind
Those
you.
are fast fucking
What
snakes.
the fuck? And
they're
they blend into
and they're rattlesnakes.
and they
you can
blend
hear
in
'em.
with everything, so you don't notice. But like, no way in hell am I going there.
But like my favorite part of that scene, so they bring him home, and he has like all the like
What,
what are those called? Needles all in them, and they're like huge and like really thick, not like the little like succulent cactuses you get like at people's bathrooms, and you touch them and you're like, ow.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like giant, like look like porcupine quills.
That is something I would do.
Exactly.
I remember.
That's what I do.
I remember.
I cannot not touch a cactus. Like I have to test
I want
it.
to, but I don't. Like I can feel myself vividly in
It's
the
a
bathroom being
weird
like,
fucking
"Don't do
thing.
it, don't do
I know.
it."
I know.
Oh,
So anyway,
man,
but they're like
weird.
porcupine quills, like huge. So they gave him a bunch of tequila for the pain. So he's like wasted, and it gets brought home. And then like she goes to get the tweezers, and then he has like a quarter bottle of tequila left, and he like can't even. He can unscrew it, but like can't drink it because it keeps falling out of his mouth. So he just pours it on the rug and starts like licking it off of like the wall-to-wall carpeting.
Oh, gross.
Funny.
Yeah, good scene. Good time. So, okay. So, any other standouts that you remembered? Or do you just want to talk about anything you want?
Yeah.
Anything you want, that's
got
the
it.
way I need it. So, like, the first thing I wanted to talk about was that I don't know what this note means. Looks like Mexican. Oh, the Mexican house renovation. So I wrote it Reno, but I was like Reno. He comes home one day, and this is. I mean, we're expected to believe he was like at work for the day and then comes home, or was he maybe on a business trip? Maybe that's more likely, because how could they have done this in one day? They paint the entire outside of the house, so it's in one of those developments where all the houses are the same except for his, which is like bright red now. The inside they paint it like bright colors, green, orange, yellow. Looks like, a Mexican restaurant essentially. Tons of Christian iconography, crosses, crucifixes. It's a great house, and a little chihuahua, like, whoa, over the top.
Yeah, gives it some life. I mean, there were like 20 people there, so if like everyone took a wall, like you're done.
It's true.
But I don't know about the outside. That seems like
Right.
a project.
You're like, where are the ladders? I
Yeah,
didn't see
maybe
any
he was gone for a
ladders.
week. True.
Chewy, did Chewy help? Like, Why is so Chewie is her ex-boyfriend who they was briefly engaged to, maybe or not? She says no, so it was probably like a coming to America sitch where he decided they were going to get married.
Yeah,
but
and
like,
I think they were just friends. They might have dated when they were like young, but like I just feel like well, no, but because remember when she's in line in the bathroom, she's talking to Lainey about the breakup speech she's going to give him. So I think they were casually dating. Yeah, okay.
And then she just shows up with this stranger 3 months later. But it was 3 months, so they probably had broken up in that time or something, whatever. So he is at the dinner scene where Alex first meets her family. And there's like this confrontation kind of thing, right? And it seems rocky. Like, it doesn't seem like they resolved anything. Yeah. But then, all of a sudden, she's like, oh, will you take my husband hunting in the desert with my brothers? Kind of weird. But then they seem a little closer, after the incident, after the snake incident. So, I don't know.
But anyway, so you just like, or just want to talk about the house renovation?
That was another scene that I remembered. Like,
okay.
It was just it sticks with me. And then of course the racist dad is like, you'd think they could hire a decent decorator.
That guy sucks. Which that is Matthew Perry's actual dad, guys.
Unbelievable.
I know, they do look very similar.
Who's his mom?
Not that woman,
Linda Perry.
No.
Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Okay. So wait, are we ready for the 90s stuff?
Sure.
All right. It's just 3 things. But I think they're pretty good. So, number 1, 90s Vegas movies. Easy. A lot of Vegas movies in the 90s. Mainly I'm thinking of Vegas Vacation, which came out the same year as this movie. It's like there was a Vegas heyday for some reason.
Leaving Las Vegas.
There's
a Jessica Parker one with like
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Not that one though.
Who's Sarah Jessica Parker?
Yeah.
You just said Jessica Parker. I was like, I have no idea who the fuck that is.
Sarah Jessica Parker and like Elvis's like jump out of a plane.
3,000 Miles to Graceland.
No.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Like see the movie cover.
All right, look it up. But yeah, they were big in the 90s. And this movie especially just reminds me a lot of Vegas Vacation because it's just like that Vegas culture that I knew very little of, I should say. But in what I do know about Vegas, I know from this movie and Vegas Vacation. So,
well, I mean, Vegas is really interesting, right? Because it's like, okay, when was that movie? Honeymoon in Vegas.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Which is with Nick Cage, James Caan. Jack loses $65,000 in poker in Las Vegas, where he's marrying Betsy. The wedding will have to wait as the poker winner wants the weekend with Betsy to cancel the debt. Ew. She accepts. Whom will she marry? Ew, it's like that other movie,
Indecent Proposal.
But it's like a comedy. And James Caan is like the old dude who like wants to take her on a date. Okay. That movie's
yikes, you guys.
awful.
Yikes.
But yeah, Vegas is so interesting because I don't know why they made a bunch in Vegas and why that was like a theme. Good question. Good thing to research. I don't know. There's a lot of Vegas-y stuff in here, which I think is kind of cool, and stuff about the desert and in general, like Nevada, let's say. That whole area and like great canyon shots, right? And you have obviously a big theme around the Hoover Dam. Stuff about Mexico, with Mexico being like pretty close to all those states. But like in general, so I've been to Vegas, and I think everyone should go to Vegas once because it is a sight to be seen. It's insane. It is literally this like crazy place in the middle of the desert. Like stuff's open all night, the gambling shit, all that. It's nuts. Everyone should see it. It's like Disney World. I don't have any need to go back ever again. I did like 2 days there, and that was fine. But it is really interesting, and it's an interesting world. And that guy Alex is like a club creator, right? So he's used to, I think, that whole like scene and everything like that, because he ends up building like the most nasty club I've ever seen, and not nasty in a good way.
It's my worst nightmare.
Worst nightmare club. I mean, it looked fucking awful. The people inside it look like garbage bags, not physically, but like personality wise. They look like trash.
Couple. Yeah. Wait, physically? Not physically?
Yeah.
Not. Yes, physically.
No, garbage bag people.
Oh.
No, they weren't wearing garbage bags.
Yeah, well, it looked like some of them were. I'll tell you.
One woman was wearing a kimono.
I know. It was awful.
I know it was the 90s, but like, no, it's not a good look for anybody.
But yeah, Vegas, baby.
And it was just like a loud club, and it was like, what was the song playing?
I don't know.
Because I'm moving on up. I'm moving on. I think that's
Or no, that's it's the song in the dance with
something like that.
Elise. Okay, so
Bad
anyways,
90s club music.
Bad 90s club music. One thing I like about Vegas is how different it is in the daytime versus the nighttime in movies. Like I love that. Like daytime, you're at the casino. Whoa. Yeah. Sketchy. Nighttime glamour, right? It's so weird. That,
I love
that
all
juxtaposition.
the signs, I love all that stuff. And obviously Vegas has such, when it was created and like how
do you know much about that?
Well, I know from
brief
like
history sweetie lesson. Yeah.
I know from because I read the book The Godfather. It was a place that like was basically nothing and it just got built up by these like
why did they pick
why did
they decide to build in the middle of the desert?
A lawless place. Well, there wasn't anything there, so they were looking to have like a party city where they wouldn't like bother anybody and that they could kind of have no rules, right? But like so just like historically just even the last like I don't know, well now 75 years, let's say. So you had like the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra having like such a presence there, right? And then that morphed into like Elvis kind of having like his like kind of second home and his second like career because like by the time Elvis was doing his like Vegas-y kind of stuff, like he's not like washed up, but he was kind of like wearing those crazy suits and like had his like maybe some drug problems and was like a little bloated and what eventually led to his demise. But like so that has such like people connect Elvis in Vegas so much and obviously like the big shows Siegfried and Roy and then you had basically like all the people who had like what is that called like residencies there. So you would have like these musicians or magicians or like Siegfried and Roy, which is the tigers, the white Bengal tigers, until they fucking attacked that guy and he almost died. Like what the fuck happened? That was crazy.
It's just thematically is like our world, represents our world. Siegfried and Roy, the demise, right?
What?
Wonderful, happy in the 90s, and then later,
can you imagine
your tiger bites you in the face and it's over.
The tiger that you trained from a tiny,
unbelievable.
But like, and you, I'm sure they remember that they were like wild animals, but you just never thought that tiger was going to turn you.
What happened to that guy anymore? I don't know. I hope he's okay. I don't know.
Jeez.
Maybe he died. I don't know.
Siegfried, Roy, reach out to us.
Which one are you?
But now they have like, so now it's like more musicians kind of make like a home there. So like Britney Spears was there for a while. Celine Dion's like always there. Yeah. I forget who's there now. But that's kind of like what it is now. And it's still like gambling and all that shit. But anyway, I find Vegas very interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, good 90s theme. Yeah. Number 2, those little sunglasses that guys used to wear that were like little like ovals. I don't know why that was the look. It's also, if you remember at the end of Men in Black, Will Smith like changes the outfit, and there's like that same kind of like that style, that like little lens.
Matrix sunglasses?
Yeah, I guess. But like they're so unattractive. I hate them so much. Ugh.
Like let's only have the lens cover like just the white of my eye.
So weird. Number 3, finally, pizza and milk. Ew. It seemed like a good combination when you were little. You like have your pizza and some milk. There's a scene in this where he treats her dinner at the club, but it's not constructed completely yet. So they're like in the building zone or whatever, and gets a pizza and then puts a carton of milk in an ice bucket, a painter's. But yeah, because she's pregnant. The only thing she can drink is milk. Like, gross, with pizza? Ew. Like but I feel like that was something that we would eat and drink. Because when you were little, but remember we talked about this another time when you like always drank milk when we were little.
Everything.
Yeah.
Remember we never drank water. Right. It was always like, here's your giant glass of milk.
So weird.
And I would drink it.
Now,
I loved milk.
That's not a thing anymore. Ugh. Now people are like, milk is bad for you. Blah, blah, blah. It's like crazy. Good times. So those are my 3 90s things.
Good one.
Yeah.
Why were Matthew Perry's clothes so big?
So he's like stickly in this. Sweetie, did you mention this yet? That he was.
Oh, no. Yeah, but.
This movie was filmed during Matthew Perry's prescription drug habit addiction, which is an interesting addiction because for the most part, those you can't really like tell. Like I watched Nurse Jackie, and she was not different when she was on them. She was different when she was like off them, right? Because she would be having withdrawal. Like that's the only time you would notice it. It seemed like.
Does it not make you feel high anymore? You're just like
after a while. Normal? I assume that's what happens. But like I don't know. He seemed fine. Yeah. I would never have known. Except looking back now, you're like, wow, he's anorexic. Yeah, like he's so skinny. Because none of his clothes fit.
If you remember, he when he started Friends, like he had like kind of a little he wasn't fat, he was normal, and he had like kind of a baby face. I mean, they're all so young. And then a couple of seasons in, he got so gaunt, and it was just like pretty noticeable. And then it came out later, that he had like an addiction to prescription pills or something like that. And then he got over that and then got pretty fat. But good for him.
Pretty fat, really? I remember that.
I mean, and he also got older. He just got older.
Yeah, that's really
But
what
his
gets us
clothes
all
do
in
not
the
fit
end.
him at all. So like, I don't know if they like that was the style or they literally could not find anything to fit his bony frame. But like, oh my god, like the sleeves were like insanity. I'm like, don't you have enough money to get tailored clothing? Like, what is happening here?
Well, yeah, maybe the budget didn't cut it.
Yeah.
He's not really that fat. Yeah, he's just normal.
Yeah.
Not skinny mini.
Sweet guy.
No, he's fine. He's okay. See? He's like a dad now.
Yeah, but like
the chin is
but
unfortunate.
The
but,
last couple of seasons of Friends, I'm
Right.
thinking of.
Yeah, I don't recall. So, what were you talking about? Oh, that was your question. Yeah, that's why. That's why he was on drugs. He was on drugs. That's all I got.
Okay.
That's all she wrote.
I enjoy the Spanglish in this, whether that's an appropriate thing to like in this movie or not.
Sure.
I love that like all the Mexican people in this like have that ability to go back and forth like that, and especially Isabel, because when she gets all fired up, she like will start saying stuff in Spanish, and when she's having the baby, like she dips back and forth into Spanish and English, and like, man, I wish I had that opportunity to speak in both languages. I
know.
wish I was bilingual. I'm
I
just
know.
saying.
You still can be. There's still time.
Still
Our brains
time.
aren't as moldable, as malleable as when we were little, but I think we can. If we tried really hard,
Ugh,
maybe.
so bad.
Maybe.
Okay. I listed a couple of things that make Isabel a cool girl.
Go.
Because I really think they really try to make her like a really cool
yeah.
girl, which it succeeds because she is. Okay, here's your qualities to make you a cool girl. Ready? That like all guys are gonna be
Yeah,
like,
I'm ready.
yeah.
I'm ready.
You have a cool truck,
Was it a truck or a Jeep? That was a Jeep. That was
Jeep
an old
or whatever,
Jeep.
old some kind of old car, right?
Okay, whatever.
Because you're like you're too cool.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
get an old car.
You
you're
get an
cool.
old car.
And it's not like a girly
But
car.
I also
kind
feel
of like
like
a masculine car.
The only reason they give her that car is so that they can do that scene at the end where he spots her car coming across the
Yeah.
Hoover Dam. Because if it was just like a fucking
Well, also,
Toyota,
she's got to chuck the coins into the
Right,
Hoover Dam,
right.
so it's got to be
Yeah.
no top, and also she's got to drive it into rural
out
Mexico.
the window. What
so,
I tell you?
Yeah. She wears like rings on weird
Oh my God.
fingers.
I love that. I was
know.
just thinking that, man, chunky silver rings
Yes.
were like the
So-
shit
it's so
in the
90s.
90s.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's like big curly hair that she doesn't care about, but it looks amazing no matter what. She wears platform sandals and mini skirts.
Yeah, again, 90s.
Yeah.
No, we had no fear back then. Just keep them shorter and shorter.
Even when she's soups pregnant, she's like sky high heels. I'm like, good for you, lady. And she can dance. What up?
She can dance.
She can dance.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all she got?
that's nice. Cool
What
girl.
about like tough girl? She's the only
Yes.
girl in a family of five
Yes,
brothers.
5 brothers.
Crazy. She's
Cool
got that
job.
cool, scrappy attitude.
She got a cool job.
She's a photographer at Caesar's Palace, but a like actual artistic photographer. She's doing a book on the desert. Pretty cool.
She wears overalls.
Yeah, she's great outfits across the board. I would say very diverse collection of outfits for sure. And she's fucking hot. Like fuck that bitch, man.
Yeah.
fuck it.
Sounds great. I'm glad
Yeah.
she really made it.
Yeah.
She is great.
Did you know? So one of the most. I guess this. I want to say it's I want to say everything's a '90s thing, but I know it's not. But I still feel like there were an awful lot of movies with a traumatic birth scene in it, right? In the '90s. I don't know. I'm thinking of 9 months later. What was it? No, 9 months. Good movie.
one. Wow. That movie.
Yeah,
wow.
like that one. It just made me very terrified of having a baby. All these movies because they're all these like painful, like screaming so loud.
Well, it
This is
hurts.
one of the more I feel like traumatic ones where you're like, wow, that's really, really like she's just screaming so loud. And there's this part where she has to do like one last push, and you're just like, ugh, it freaked me out a little. But the thing that freaks me out the most about that scene is that there is just a crowd of like people watching, like random strangers, like, look at the lady having a baby. Can you imagine? You're like, here's my vagina, and then they're just like people are watching you like shit on your baby. That's fucked up.
I'm sure she was in so much pain she didn't care, but I just love that when the guy's like, okay, let's give her some
And
some
why
air.
Is he like an expert pediatrician person,
There's always one
OBGYN?
guy in the cop force who can deliver babies. They do it all the time.
I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna go down into the police station and be
They
like, which
might
one of
just
you
get
can deliver the
basic
baby?
like basic baby training.
Well, he seemed
you
to know some things.
Yeah.
But yeah, Whew,
And
traumatic.
the only thing I hated about that scene is the dumb like stereotype of women being like, I hate you to your husband.
Yeah.
Like,
You
I
did
hope
this
that is
to me.
written out of scripts now because like you didn't do that to anybody. You did it together. You both have sex. You were both there. Like, you can only say that to like your rapist. Okay, so just like you were in it.
Totally.
That's dark.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
I just hate that, and I feel like that was such like an 80s and 90s thing, and I'm just like so over that. Look who's talking. Remember?
Yeah. Yep. Get the the demon voice one. Give me the drugs. It's so good. Those like weird fucking socks, and the Luke was talking. Those like green giant socks.
What did she say? Just allow the fucking something.
Yeah. Damn it, I forget.
So good.
But we love it.
But yeah. Last question for me.
Yep.
Do you believe in signs?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I love coincidence. I can't. Is a sign the same thing as like? No, it's like the opposite of a coincidence, right? Because it like everything happens
meant to be.
Yeah, right. So like I don't know. I do love like funny things like that, and I guess overall I would say I take them as a sign and not just a coincidence. Yeah. For sure.
Well, I love that idea where it's like that your life is planned for you, and that like but like if you miss the signs, then your life is not going to turn out how it was supposed to be, though.
Yeah, like I'm not really sure I'm looking now. I'm like shit.
Yeah, and like he
I go
says this
back.
thing where when he realizes that like he does want to be with her, and he realizes that like, you know, he hasn't really been paying attention to anything, and he's like, what if I like, you know, I miss my love of my life at the laundromat or something like that. You
Like
know?
he goes to the laundromat,
Yeah.
please.
But like that's why there's like no such thing as like a soulmate or like one person. Like there's going to be many people for you and many people not for you, and you just gotta fucking go where life takes you. I
Yeah.
prefer to say, because the thing with the signs and you might miss them, it's just like way too stressful.
Go your own way, and you start like putting meaning to things that don't have it, and then you're just like doing shit because of that. It gets unhealthy
that
pretty
can get
quickly.
Don't let it like control your life, which like she didn't totally, but and it was interesting because obviously she was like very much a Catholic, which is like, does that like fight against that, or does it like go with it?
Oh, that's what he like asks her kind of at the beginning. Great opening line. Or do you believe in science because you're religious, or is it a cultural thing? Like, great way to start it, Alex.
But I just, you know, I would love to go back to a time where people met cute in bathroom lines. I'm just saying, you know, like I read this column called Love Letters every day, and I would say a third of the letters are, where can I meet people I don't want to date online? And, you know, it's just the way of the world now, and that is what it is. But I'm hoping still that there always will be, like a segment you are still going to meet cute
I'm gonna
somewhere.
find someone.
You're
going
going to do it, sweetie. You're
I'm
going to
do it.
Because, you know, it's so hard out there, and everyone just wants to find somebody, but it's so hard.
Hard out there for a
I
pimp.
know, it sucks. And, like, I want it to be easier. And, like, I feel like it used to be easier, but then more people were unhappy, you know?
I think everyone's just in a relationship. It's too late. It's too late for me.
No, it's not.
Last question. Do you think Kathy is with a K or a C?
She's a C, Kathy.
Totally
Right?
good. Yeah, we're on the same page.
You know, I have one note in here that said poor Kathy. Because honestly, like, the last scene where she, like, gets her hopes up and is like, oh, he's finally coming, whatever. And then he has to, like, whisper in her ear why she's not coming. And she just gives him this
What do you
look.
think he said?
I don't know.
I'm
I always
going
felt
back
like-
to my wife.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Because she knew Isabel, so he must have been like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I got to go after Isabel. I really love her, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but I just felt bad for that bitch because, like, you know, she's got it going on.
She's got to move on, though.
Yeah. She's cute. She's got a
Move
nice butt.
on.
Like,
Yeah.
she
She can get
make it
anybody.
happen.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Freaking Kathy.
Kathy. Hope she made it. Where's the Kathy story?
Where's Kathy now?
Kathy Stewart.
Kathy's story.
Fools
Fools Rush.
Don't rush in. The Kathy Stewart story.
Nice. Pitch it. All right. Well, who thought we could talk for an hour and 2 minutes about Fools Rush In? You should. Do you like Fools Rush In? Do you want to talk about it? Is it your secret favorite movie, Chris Lewis? You can come and find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye. Bye.